Hey guys and girls, my name's Alan, and in today's episode of Trailer Analysis, we'll be covering the Infinite Warfare single-player campaign that was shown during Sony's press conference at E3 earlier this week. Unfortunately, I haven't had a lot of time to record leading up to today because I've been busy with work, but I've got a couple of days now off, so I want to do some recordings and hopefully get them all published before the weekend, if not during the weekend. I will be doing the Battlefield extended trailer that was shown during EA's press conference, so I'll be covering that later in the week. So if you're interested, stay tuned to the channel or subscribe if that's your thing. But for today we'll be covering, as I say, Call of Duty, so let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward certain sections because the information is self-explanatory and we don't need to cover it. So as you can see, we were on planet Earth. We've zoomed out to a different planet, well, the orbit of a different planet, and now we're zooming in onto a ship called the Retribution. So two characters which you may have already seen from the other trailers, Reyes and his lieutenant. Don't know her name.
Get us underway, Salt.
Right away, sir.
Okay, so Captain is obviously the person we're playing as.
We've got 4 new hotspots on radar, sir.
Check.
We jump onto some sort of console. We get a good look at the solar system, as you can see. You can manually pick planets to explore, I guess, and you can also head to a certain target and take out certain objectives as you wish. I assume we fast forward a little bit. Now we're in the Bay Area. As you can see, there's a lot of activity going on. Plenty of ships. There's a giant mech on the screen. Someone's giving a pep talk to their squad. And in a second, you'll see. So, despite being the captain of the ship, he's also actually going to go out into combat as well, which is a little bit strange. I think I heard somewhere that he was promoted in the field sort of thing, so that's probably why he's captain of the ship, and also he's obviously going to fly out to meet the enemy in his own combat jet. Okay, so the ship he's piloting is called the Jackal, as you can see on the right hand side of the screen. It's also got its wings compact, so obviously the ship's about to launch into space from this bigger ship. And then, as we've seen in previous gameplay trailers, the wings do expand, and obviously that's you're in a different stance then for combat. So she mentioned Skelters or whatever, so I'm assuming that's the opposition ship or opposition fighter jets. As you can see, we're in a combat situation now, dogfight, and we are chasing a Skelter, I think that's what it's called. So as you can see, there's a lot of space debris in the background. Clearly it's a big engagement. There's a few ships already been destroyed. Now we've just fast forward to this section where they're about to, well, I'll let it play out and then I'll talk about it. Okay, so this bit is particularly interesting. I mean, the thought of just leaving your jet for starters and then just going into space and then just transitioning to a space fight, with guns, with enemy troops, and then just doing this sort of thing, ripping the guy's face mask off. And then, I mean, if you played Advanced Warfare, you'll be familiar with the mechanic of the grapple. You use it to get from place to place quickly. In this case, you can also tag enemies and pull them towards you, or if you'll watch later on, you can actually pull yourself towards them as well. I mean, obviously, it's very reminiscent of the Ghost mission, where you're in space, except they've made use of the grapple from Advanced Warfare. And as you can see, it's just full-on fighting in space. No laser weapons or anything like that. It's guns with bullets. Transitions to his secondary. I think this is sort of like a advanced version of a Weevil or a P90 if you're OG. And again, another example of pulling enemies towards you. And this reminded me a little bit of Uncharted, where obviously Nathan Drake, he sometimes punches an enemy, pulls a pin from their nade, and then pushes them away, and they explode. And as you can see on the left-hand side there, if I just pause it quickly, that is the robot, which I did see in the gameplay that was shown, the reveal trailer. And as you can see on the screen now, they're about to plant a charge. Well, they planted a charge, and they're about to detonate it and get into the enemy's bridge, I guess. There you are. So the room's just been depressurized, people being sucked out, and then as you can see, if you look carefully, actually people are just like starving of oxygen in the background, which is pretty grim.
Staff Sergeant, cover the exit. Ethan, restore life support.
As you heard there, the robot is called Ethan.
Salt, scope the windows. I get the CO's card.
Alert! This vessel has been compromised. All personnel to bridge response. Hold on, activating gravity.
And as you see there, turns on the gravity, stuff starts falling back down to earth. I'm a little bit surprised that the blast shields weren't closed as soon as they saw him planting the charge. That seems like the logical thing to do, but I guess it's a video game, so we'll allow it. He also mentioned something about getting the CO's card, commanding officer's card, I think. So maybe they're trying to take over the ship, maybe put the reactor into overdrive or something. I'm assuming there's a reactor of sorts. I doubt they'll be running on petrol or diesel or anything like that in space.
Tigris actual, weapons are down, moving to exfil. Go loud!
Think we got their attention.
Okay, so clearly this is a fast forward part of the mission. So now they're trying to escape the ship. I think they've sabotaged it. I think the weapons was the main thing, but they may have sabotaged the ship as well. It brings up a shield similar to Advanced Warfare, where you can deploy that shield. As you can see, the highlighted enemy, it's sort of infrared heat signature, I guess.
Second level. 1 minute, let's go!
Just to speak about the weapons slightly as well before we go on to the two symbols at the bottom. It reminds me a little bit of the M4 from like Modern Warfare 3. Similar sort of scope as well. It's a dual scope, so you can flick it to iron sights, you can flick it to extended range, then you've got like an just a red dot sort of thing. And then the two symbols, bottom left and bottom right. Bottom left I think is the shield that we deployed earlier. That looks like the shield. Bottom right, I'm not too sure actually. It's got a couple of arrows pointing upwards. It could be some sort of boost, maybe a temporary boost jump, so maybe there's not as much. Oh wait, or was that the grapple? It could be the grapple. One could be the shield, one could be the grapple. Haven't seen the grapple being used in CQC yet. It was only used in space, so I don't know, we'll have to wait and see.
Got him!
Coming from the control room. Behind the pillar.
All ass!
Control room ahead.
Okay, so this part is pretty cool. He throws out like an anti-gravity nade or something like that. All the enemies get lifted off the ground and sort of sucked towards this. A bit like the what's that word I'm looking for now? From Mass Effect 3, that sphere. You know, I can't remember what it's called, but that's where I remember it from anyway. And as you can see, all the enemies start floating. They lose all the weapons. Well, probably because they've let go of them, and then it just picks them off in midair. Seems a bit unfair, really. The slide, as you just saw there, as he transitioned to the ground to hit fire this dude with the P90.
Shield up!
And here, this is quite a cool section. Actually, it's quite a good screen as well. He brings out the shield temporarily just to see what enemies are still alive, and then, well, he lays waste to them afterwards. Okay, so paused it too early. This section here, as you can see, it's an enemy mech. So we've got mechs, they've got mechs, well, robots. And, well, I'll let it roll. He has to fight it off, and then he does disable it by stabbing it in the back. And then does something to his, I'm assuming to his to the robot's like central system, so he can't use his arms or legs. And as you can hear, as you heard just then, he's decompressurizing the bay area for the enemy ships. And all the enemies get sucked out. Well, some of them remain, and they've got suits on, and they progress to have another fight. As you can see, he's got the option there to use the grapple. So actually, the grapple's on the left when he's in space, and also R1 is assigned to something else. So possibly then, what we saw earlier, R1 was that anti-gravity nade. That would represent the two arrows pointing upwards. That makes sense. So we've got L1 to grapple, and then R1 to pull enemies towards you. I think that's what that is, like a target on that little symbol there. So L1 to get to a location, R1 to pull something towards you. And then, as you can see there, you grapple towards the ship that you were piloting earlier before you boarded this enemy ship. And it looks like the enemy ship is not firing back, and your ship on the left just is laying waste to it, and it's probably crashing towards Earth. Actually, as it looks like planet Earth in the background. And then eventually the enemy ship just get blown up, and that's the end of the mission. There is a little bit section afterwards, which I will cover in another video, but as you can see, the Infinite Warfare is coming out on the 4th of November 2016, later this year. No surprise, November is Call of Duty time of the year. If anyone doesn't know that, then they don't play a lot of Call of Duty games or follow the franchise particularly well. But yeah, not a lot to talk about in that gameplay, to be honest. It's quite self-explanatory, as I said. But if you notice anything that I didn't, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to, obviously I'd like to see things that I've missed as well. As for the gameplay itself, yeah, it looks alright. It looks quite interesting. Not enough to convince me to buy the game, but it looks quite good. At the risk of making this video too long, I won't talk too much about my personal thoughts and opinions on the gameplay itself. I will do a gameplay commentary on AcornVision Gaming, so if you want to hear my thoughts on what I think about this particular section of gameplay, in my own, my own view, nothing from a technical standpoint, then head over to that channel and check it out. I will link it in the description at some point, but I don't know when the video is going to go live, so you may be better off just checking it daily instead to see when it goes up. But yeah, until the next video, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, take care, and I will see you later.